Hi everybody, here's lesson 12. This lesson is all about understanding the quotient, which is the number of groups or the number of objects in the group with units of 2. So remember, the quotient is the answer to a division problem, okay? So start to recognize that word because you're going to start seeing it more. All right, so let's start with number 1. There are 8 birds at the pet store. 2 birds are in each cage. Circle to show how many cages there are. Then we have to fill in the blank. There are blank cages. And show our answer in our problem over here. So 2 birds are in each cage. I have to go back and reread parts of this so that I know what to do. That's the smart thing to do. So I'm going to circle 2. That represents 1 cage. 2 more. 2 more, and 2 more. So you should have this on your problem set. So if I have 8 birds divided into groups of 2, so this is the size of the group right here, this tells me how many cages I need. If I count it up, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 cages. So I'm going to put 4 here and 4 here. That tells me 8 divided by 2 is 4. This is your number of groups. Okay? In division, this number could be either the size or the number of groups. And this number could be either the size or the number of groups. But this number is always your total things that you're dividing up. Always, always. Okay? Let's go to number 2. The pet store sells 10 fish. They equally divide the fish into 5 bowls. Draw a fish to find the number in each bowl. Alright, so since this is math class and not art class, I'm going to draw my fish. I'm going to slide this. Oh my gosh, I don't know why that copied onto there. That's really weird. Well, I'm just going to draw a little circle for each fish. So, I don't know how many go in each fish. And you can see this is set up like a tape diagram here. Here's the rectangle. Here's my bracket labeling the total of 10 fish. And this number here, the 5 bowls, those are our groups. So I'm just going to label that down here. And I know that's my number of groups because they've divided it into 5 sections for me. Okay? So remember, your groups is usually something that holds something else. Okay? The fish in this word problem are repeating. There's the same number in each one, so that's the size. Whatever is holding that repeating number is your groups. So I need to divide up 10 fish, so I do my fair share method. 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. It's only 5, so I have to go back and start again. This is my 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. So now I show 10 fish in the group of bowls. So how many are in each bowl? Remember, each means 1. So there are 2 fish in each bowl. Now if I turn that into a multiplication sentence and a division sentence, this number here is still always my number of groups. And look at that. They switched it around. They seem to think that since we know the commutative property, we can just flip it. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But, oops, didn't mean to do that. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and put 2, even though, actually, I just don't even want to go there. I'm going to change this to 2 and this to 5. Okay? Should be 5 times 2. So fix that on your problem set. We should be consistent. Otherwise it gets confusing, right? Alright, so we had 10 total fish, divided them into groups, 5 groups. So notice on this problem, we're dividing by the number of groups. If you go back up to number 1, we were dividing by the size. So that means our answer is going to tell us how many were in each group, and we know that that is 2. Okay, So the way the division problem gets set up is you take that total, you take whatever other number they give you, divide by that, and solve the missing number. Okay, so let's go to number 3. Here we have to match the bunnies to their carrots. So if I have 10 fish and I divide them into 2 groups, how many go in each group? Well, you can draw a picture over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many are in each group? 5. So the answer is here. Another way of looking at that is 2 times what equals 10? Remember, division is just backwards multiplication. So start with this number, multiply it by something else to get the 10. Right, 16 divided by 2. Draw 2 circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Essentially, you're dividing 16 in half, and that gives you 8. That looks like that answer. 18 divided by 2. Same idea as up here. Or, another way to think about it, similar to this, 2 times what is 18. You can think of what number doubled gives me 18. Just like 5 doubled gives us 10. 8 doubled gives us 16. So 9 doubled gives us 18. What number doubled gives us 14? 7. What number doubled gives us 12? 6. So find a strategy that works for you. I just showed you 3. You can draw a picture like this. You can think about it as a multiplication sentence if that makes sense to you. Or because we're using 2 as our factor for this assignment, we can think of what number can I double to get this number here. That's known as the dividend. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to shrink this back down so I can get to the other side. I'm going to enlarge that. This is when it gets good. We've got some word problems and tape diagrams. Woo! So read number 3 with me. Lana bought 14 meters of ribbon. She cut her ribbon into 2 equal pieces. How many meters long is each piece? Label the tape diagram to represent the problem, including the question mark. Each piece is blank meters long. Okay, so if you use the green diagram in the front of your binder or look at the poster that's on the back whiteboard, you can see what goes up here and what goes down here. Okay, so this long rectangle is her ribbon. How big is that total piece of ribbon? Do they tell us that in the problem? Yeah, right here. Okay, so we're going to label that down here 14 meters. Whenever we're using length or width, height, anything that has a unit of measure like meters, we need to include that. And so the abbreviation for meters is M. Okay, so here's our total. She cut her ribbon into 2 equal pieces. All right, so do you think that would be our groups or how big each group is? Well, look how many sections they cut it into. 1, 2. That tells us the 2 is our group. So I'm going to label this down here 2 pieces. Okay, this is 1 piece. This is 2, the second piece. Okay. Oh goodness, that looks like a 3. That's a 2. Okay. That's where the 2 comes from, right here. 2 equal pieces. So this is our question mark. How many meters? We want to include that unit of measure up there too. That's our label. How many meters long is each one? Well, we learned when we started with division, if we're given the total, then we have a division problem. And we are given the total. So we're going to divide 14 by 2 and get our answer. We just did that one on the other side. What number doubled gives us 14? And that's 7. So we're going to put a 7 here. And if you were doing this on another problem, you might not have your answer sentence. They wrote it for you. But if this wasn't there, you would need to write that answer here. So with a tape diagram, you've got to draw the picture and the labels. You need the number sentence and you need that word sentence. There's a lot of work that goes into tape diagrams. So be ready for that, okay? Because if you don't include it, guess what? You get to have it back, okay? All right, somehow I've gone to another page. All right, let's go to the next one. Again, I have that symbol in there that's starting to drive me crazy. Roy eats 2 cereal bars every morning. So that's repeating over and over and over. Each box has a total of 12 bars. How many days will it take Roy to finish one box? Draw a tape diagram with 2 bars in each section. It will take Roy blank days to finish the box. All right, so we actually get to draw our own tape diagram this time. And you'll notice I underlined some of these important pieces of information. You might want to start doing that too. It helps it so that it's easier to find later. Okay? So I'm going to draw a rectangle, and I'm going to leave space on the top and the bottom for my labels. Okay? So I need to draw a bracket here, and underneath here, I'm going to label my total and how many groups. So do I know how many total bars there are? It's 2 every morning. Each box has a total. Ooh, there's a clue word. Total. So I'm going to write my total bars down here. 12 bars. Okay. Now, I'm eating 2 every morning. That's the number that's repeating. So that's going to be the size of my group. 2 bars. Okay. That's what he eats every morning. So he's got 2 here. And 2 here, until he gets to a total of 12. So we have to kind of create the inside part of this box. And this is where your pencil might come in handy, okay? Here's 2 more. So 2, 4, 6, 8. Oops! 10, 12. Okay. So if you have a lot of extra space left over here, remember we kind of want these boxes pretty even because they're all the same amount of bars, cereal bars that he's eating. So you might need to erase some of your extra tape diagram so that this last box isn't super big or it isn't super small. Okay? So our question mark is, how many days does it take? Okay? We've got everything we know now. We can divide our total by the number of bars each day to figure out how many days. Well, we can figure out how many days by just counting the sections here. This represents 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days. And that's also a different label you could put up here if that makes more sense to you. This is 1 day of eating. Okay? So to answer the sentence, it will take Roy 6 days to finish the box. He ate 2 each day. Think about it too. If you labeled each day of the week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, those are all the days. He eats 2 here, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, this is how many days? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, but we use a tape diagram to show all that instead. All right, I think we have one more problem. Sarah and Esther equally shared the cost of a present. The present cost $18. How much does Sarah pay? Draw and label a tape diagram. Sarah paid blank for the present. All right, so this is interesting because you have to kind of think a little bit about what's going on here. Sarah and Esther, how many girls is that? 2 girls, right? They equally shared. Present cost $18. How much does Sarah pay? All right, so we need to draw a tape diagram. And we'll label this to get my total. Do we know the total? We always know the total if it's a division problem. Sometimes we don't know if it's a division problem. So if they give us the total, that tells us it's a division problem. So the total was $18. And in this case, this number, is that repeating? Do we have 2 girls every day doing something? No, we just have 2 girls total.